Subaru Corporation unveiled the WRX performance concept at the Tokyo Motor Show 2017, and most think it's a forerunner of the next generation 2020 WRX and WRX STI design. Of course, it won't look exactly like the concept car revealed last week. Remember the WRX concept? But it could give an indication of the size of the new 2020 WRX STI performance model. Subaru released dimensions on the WRX performance concept. The new Gen WRX STI set to launch in late 2019, if it stays with the show car's dimensions, will be significantly larger than the current performance sedan. The performance concept is 4630mm long, 1950mm wide and 1430mm high. That's around 70mm longer than the current WRX STI, with the wheelbase accounting for most of the gain. Despite the WRX being a sedan, no more than 10mm of the added length is behind the rear axle. At 2730mm, the WRX's wheelbase is 60mm longer than the current WRX STI's. If we look at the new generation 2017 Impreza's wheelbase, it grew by an inch to 105.1 inches. Both sedan and 5-door hatchback models are 1.6 inches longer, 1.5 inches wider and 0.4 inch lower than the outgoing 2016 Impreza. Look for the WRX and WRX STI to have a slightly longer, wider and a possibly lower stance too. Subaru uncovered the WRX with 20-inch wheels, with 245/14 R20 rubber, but the production WRX STI is likely to be fitted with 19-inch wheels as standard. Subaru engineers and Subaru Technica International will build the new WRX STI on the same Subaru Global Platform (SGP) architecture that underpins the Impreza and 2018 Crosstrek. It's a modular platform the Japanese automaker can adapt to easily accommodate the longer wheelbase of the performance sedans. The new SGP will make the body and chassis 70% more rigid, which will translate to improved steering response, and the increased rigidity of the suspension mounting will reduce body roll by 50% compared to current models like we see in the new Impreza. The next-gen WRX STI will also have a lower center of gravity, improving driving dynamics in the corners, producing a more dynamic ride. Subaru says the new global platform underpinning the 2017 Impreza improves crash energy absorption by 40% over present models. Expect the same in the 2020 Subaru WRX STI. The next generation 2020 Subaru WRX STI will get significant improvements over the current generation performance model. It will likely grow slightly bigger, get an improved ride and driving dynamics and increased safety.
With blistering performance belying their plain Jane looks, affordably priced Japanese sport compacts like the Subaru WRX and Mitsubishi Evo have long helped San Fernando Valley, California bad boys blow the trapeze off Porsche driving dentists once the lights turn green. Though the Evo is no more, Subaru's WRX performance concept that made its debut at the 2017 Tokyo Motor Show indicates that the WRX's styling shortcoming is about to change. Sure, as news editor Connor Golden pointed out recently, Subaru has teased us before and failed to deliver. But Subaru has begun to coin cash far beyond its traditional snow tire and Birkenstock niche markets. And as a Subaru representative told me a few years back, we badly want SoCal. So, my bet is that the Subaru WRX performance concept is coming to production. And here are 5 things that struck me about it. 1. The face, aggressive yet elegant. At first glance, I was tempted to dismiss it as Mustang derivative. But after seeing weird Halloween mask attempts at facial aggression in the same hall, like the Mitsubishi E-Evolution concept and the Lexus LS Plus, I began to appreciate the elegant geometry at Subaru. If you've got good bones, you'll never need a facelift. 2. What were they aiming for? Subi says its design direction was dynamic X solid, which is apparent in the sharply flared front fenders, sleekly sculpted waist, and chunky hips at the back that lend an element of booty to the butt. With the 2011 Impreza, Subaru engineers and designers went through contortions to move the A-pillar forward an inch or so to create a larger glass surface and more spacious interior feeling. Looks like this has been incorporated in the VIZIV. 3. Safe at any speed. Subaru made sure to play down the boy racer image, stressing that the VIZIV is about enjoyment and peace of mind. In other words, safety. So there was lots of talk about its rigid body structure and eyesight driver assist technology. 4. But will it go, and corner 2? After exhausting his safety spiel and stressing this is a design and not a performance concept, what the Subaru rep finally said roughly translates as, "Don't worry, we'll give it guts to match its looks." Say, a low center of gravity turbocharged boxer power plant that generates over 300 horsepower along with symmetrical AWD. 5. Is that a rocket thruster on the back, or what? Below the back bumper, smack dab in the middle and flanked either side by twin girly-looking exhaust pipes are 3 glowing red hexagonal rings. Perspective makes it seem like they lead deep into the car's fiery bowels, but what are they? Subaru explained that's a rear fog lamp but also a design element. I like it. So while other manufacturers are busy coming up with autonomous technology, new batteries, or constantly improving the 0 to 60 acceleration time, Nissan has introduced a new ringtone that its future electric vehicles will use. Yes, we're well aware this was probably only a side project Nissan gave one of its interns while the rest of the company works on the more important stuff like the ProPilot semi-autonomous system and the future EVs that would hopefully be a little more competitive than the 2018 Nissan Leaf. Despite its underwhelming specs compared to the current market trends, the new electric hatchback has reportedly already garnered over 9,000 firm orders during the first 2 months from its launch. That's far from Tesla Model 3's several hundreds of thousands in a similar time frame, but the difference is these people are actually going to receive their cars before their kids grow old. At the Tokyo Motor Show, while unveiling the IMX electric concept, Nissan made another announcement. The company introduced the public to Kanto, the future sound of Nissan's electrified vehicles. Note they used the word electrified, meaning we should expect some plug-in hybrids to come along the pure EVs that the new Leaf is supposed to spring. The silent nature of electric cars has long been brought into discussion, claiming it could be dangerous for pedestrians in the crowded urban areas. Used to hearing the vehicles, some people might not turn to look if there's any vehicle coming and cross the road relying strictly on their hearing. That's why the Opel Ampera Chevrolet Volt, to give one example, had to separate horns, one used for the vehicles, and a softer one, imitating the sound made by the first vehicles a century ago that would be used to warn the oblivious pedestrians about the vehicle's approach. Nowadays, some countries require EVs to emit a constant sound at lower speeds, which is where they are the most silent. Nissan's Kanto is active at up to 20 or 30 km per hour, depending on the legal requirements in every specific market. Nissan says the sound level will be clearly audible, without being overly disturbing to pedestrians, residents, and passengers, but after listening to it, we suspect a lot of people nearby are going to reach for their phones only to be greeted by a black screen, which might prove pretty disturbing.
It's easy to forget that Nissan makes a good, old-fashioned rear-wheel drive sports car, with its ever-increasing lineup of SUVs, electric vehicles and minuscule micros. However, if you head to your local dealer and peer into a darkened corner somewhere, you might catch a glimpse of the lesser-spotted 370Z. Nissan's naturally aspirated 323 bhp 3.7-liter V6 engine thrill machine that first landed on our roads way back in 2009. Gas-guzzling, emissions-emitting rear-wheel drive sports cars might not be the flavor du jour, but the Japanese marque has seen fit to refresh its shapely performance car and drag it into 2018. A new look gives it black door handles and a black rear bumper fascia, dark tinted headlamps and rear combination lights, all previously only available on the Nismo upgrade but now come as standard. New 19-inch alloy wheels are also thrown in, as well as a stunning new infrared metallic paint option that brilliantly shows off the Z's flared arches and swooping waistline. The car might be approaching a decade old, but it still stands out in a crowd, while the addition of a new, race-ready Exetti clutch means it drives better than it ever has. Couple this lightweight transmission with Nissan's throttle blipping rev-matching technology, and you've got an extremely enjoyable machine, especially on track. Thankfully, little else has changed. The engine delivers the same amount of grunt, the suspension remains firm but forgiving, and the chassis still feels properly sorted. Inside, there's the new Nissan Connect Premium infotainment system, which features a 7-inch touchscreen, sat-nav, DVD player and rear-view camera, but really this is still the cracking driver's car we know and love. Admittedly, the advent of the hyper hatches, which boast devastating performance and everyday practicality for a similar price, means the 370Z has got a bit of a battle with its fresh-faced rivals. But this remains a lot of sports car for the money, and one of the best-looking things in a Nissan dealership, even if they do try and hide it away in a darkened corner.